Welcome, dear learner. I am Dr Abhimanyu Kumar, Department of English, Barhiya. Today we will discuss modern age of the British English literature or world literature, because modernity in the 20th century is mostly an American phenomenon. So the limitations of modern age are not limited only in the Africa, Europe or England, but touches almost all countries of the world. Now, welcome back. Modern age is an age of chaos and uncertainty, crisis, a global crisis. However, the modernist style came after First World War. Understand this point very clearly. Modernism came after First World War, and postmodernism came after Second World War. And what happens? What are the changes? What are the scenario after First World War in modern literature and after Second World War postmodernism? Because I have already informed you earlier in the opening of my lecture that modern literature touches all over the world. It is not limited in Africa, Europe or in England. What happens, after First World War? It creates convulsion in nature after First World War. The modern writers like T.S. Eliot, Virginia Woolf, William Butler Yeats, D.H. Lawrence, etc. They came in this era. At that time, James I was the King of England. He has given full freedom to writer to write political, economical, social freedom. There was no despotic or fascist power in England as in before 16th century. The Catholic Church, he was despotic, tyrannical and fascist power. But modern writers have English sensibility, rich English potentiality. What they did, you understand? The modern writer and postmodern writer. They have broken all the barriers of English literature in art, painting, culture, literature, in language. And the English language became the language of capitalist. It is not the language of Dalit and marginalized people of the world. After modernism and postmodernism, after First World War and Second World War, the English language becomes capitalist language. It is not Dalit and marginalized people of the world. Whatever it means, it touches the universality. How a writer can be great? How a man can be great? When his personal thought becomes universal, touches the worldly life. It seems to be happen. Everybody touches, appealing his thought. That can take the shape of greatness of writer or anybody else or anybody. The writer have secondary vision. Writer, philosopher and scientist must have secondary vision. And writer always goes in the right direction. As you know the definition of poetry of T.S. Eliot, poetry is not a turning loose of emotions but an escape from emotion. What Wordsworth writes, a spontaneous overflow of powerful feeling and emotions regulated in tranquility, then thought comes, then poetry comes. A spontaneous overflow of powerful feeling. When your feeling become overflow, powerful, then automatically it brings thought. It creates something. It generates something. That is greatness. Modernism is a world of chaos. Modern literature is chaos and uncertainty, chaotic. After the 19th century, the modern literature came in 20th century. So we aspire from modern writers. Consider this approach, this paradigm approach, the paramount approach of modern writers. After Second World War, postmodernism, the writer of Ezra Pound, part3 Charson, they all are postmodernism writers. Virginia Woolf, James Joyce, and also impact of American literature, particularly a famous novel of Henry Miller, an American novelist, Tropic for Cancer. You know, he's a hypersensitive writer of world, touches world. When you will read Tropic of Cancer, it becomes obvious what type of writer Henry Miller is. Now I will read some few lines from Tropic of Cancer. This book is not a book, a bibble, a gob of a spit in the face of art, a prolonged history. I have no money, no resources, and still I am alive in this world. He talks about biological needs. Sex is a biological needs. And sometimes it is more wiser than intellect. That's why when his first novel was published in 1935, immediately it was banned in almost all rich-speaking countries of the world because it talks about sexual explicit. It creates earthquake when this novel was published. Tropic of Cancer. His another novel is Black Spring, Tropic for Capricorn, etc. A very hypersensitive writer. Very fantastic, amazing writer. You must read Henry Miller. And you will find the concept of American literature based on alienation. That is American approach in modern literature. Alienation means loss of identity between man to man, loss of communication, chaos, world of chaos, uncertainty, dream. This is loss. In America, in London, if a father lives in 40 kilometer distance from the son, does not meet. This is communication gap. This is the world of alienation, chaotic world. This is American literature impact on modernism and postmodernism. I used to speak a Chinese phrase, Nawaz negativity. That means pejorative thinking. In India, it is said pejorative thinking. Indian writers, just like R.K. Narayan and Mulkraj Anand, they are contemporary, but having no rich sensibility as French American writers have. Their remark is this. As a remark on Indian writing, Indian writers of English are their wisest but meanest. They are virtuous fool. That is the critic of 20th century L.T.S. Eliot on Indian writers. Of course, Indian writers have tried to focus, to accept his thought to audience, but could not succeed, flopped. Could not touch world literature because they have lesser sensibility, English sensibility, lesser English sensibility, having no rich English potentiality. That is lackluster in his face. Dear learner, I hope that you understand the modern literature as you are listening my lecture. And it is a very, very amazing news for you that I got doctorate in American English Literature, particularly on Henry Miller. So I am Doctor of American English Literature. That's why the impact of American literature on modern literature, I got doctorate. So I will chop it into pieces of modernism of English literature, because I am Doctor of American English Literature. That is the jaw of English literature. American impact on modernism and postmodernism is the creative art of modern writer. James Joyce, Alcestis, T.S. Eliot, three essays, Tradition is Your Talent. You must read. I focus on you that you must read 20th century modern literature and American literature. How it becomes popular in the world, and the writer of modernist, writer of postmodernist became popular not only in England or America or Europe or Africa, but almost all countries of the world, and they became world writers. Shakespeare could not touch the world literature. Of course, he was a scholar, versatile genius, but could not touch the world literature. As Miller, Ezra Pound, James Joyce, T.S. Eliot, D.H. Lawrence, William Butler Yeats, etc. So, dear learner, my Englishman, my English student, today I am giving lecture on modern age. That is the apex part, the optimum point of English literature. The writer of that is what they have written, what they have created, and what was the political, social, economical scenario of that time. You must keep in mind and read a book of Kajamiya, History of English Literature, Ligwis and Blamius. Three writers have clarified the concept, thought, vision and sensibility of this history of English British literature. Kajamiya Sahib goes in details. Very long book, but becomes clear your concept when you will read Kajamiya History of English Literature. Now I used to speak another Italian word, motito. That means resemble. In India it is said resemble, to match with Indian culture. What happens in the 20th century in India? Western civilizations came in India. The reform is Western literature, Western concept. The culture have been changed. The writing, the style of talking, the manner, behavior, idiosyncrasy have been changed. This is the impact of Western civilization, modern literature, which touches almost all over the world, not only country of India. India was also imitating the Western culture, Western literature, Western style. So the mode of thinking, ideology and the doctrine of modernist was hypersensitive. Very, very fantastic, marvelous. This is the significant point, the focal, the central point of modern age in history of English literature, in history of British literature. Modern and postmodern literature age. After First World War and Second World War, what happens in the world, what type of writers they are creating and writing, awakening people through their writings, touches university, his thought, imagination, vision, sensation, etc. So, dear learner, all of us at last come into conclusion nullifying, about to conclude today's lecture. Have a nice day. Long live comma, long live tolerance, long live ignorance. At that point, I have finished my lecture today with good wishes. Thank you, all of you.